Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned. So it's my week to go first. Zach, you assigned me the movie Chopping Mall from 1986.
Yes. And best movie ever made, right?
Well, you tell me.
Best movie ever made. No, it's not the best. That's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It'll always be Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
So, fun fact about Chopping Mall.
Ooh, here we go.
Ready?
Yeah,
nobody gets chopped up. There's no chopping. Not once is there chopping.
Well,
in the mall. The least they could do is if they're going to make a pun, make the pun accurate. You know what I'm saying?
Make the pun accurate, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Puns are not something you toy with.
Yeah, you're going to take puns super seriously. I understand.
It's not a joke, man.
Well, I'm sorry for laughing.
No, but it is a joke. That's the funny part.
Now is the time for your stupid soundboard. Now, that would have been a great time for a stupid rim shot or whatever they're called. No. No. Steve, why did I have to call it back? Why did I have to?
I'd forgotten about it.
Sabotage. I sabotaged our own podcast.
So Letterboxd 2.9 out of 5, Rotten Tomatoes 55, and 39 audience score. IMDb 5.6 out of 10. Yeah, so this movie, besides the fact that it has no chopping at all, is actually kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
In a for an 80s horror movie, you know what I'm saying?
And you have just this real prejudice against 80s horror movies.
Where the plot is
sex.
Sex. Yeah.
It's the main plot.
So
it's freaking doing it. That's the main plot of this movie.
So we open up on a robbery at a mall at the nighttime at the mall. And we soon find out that this robbery we're seeing is actually an ad, like a promotional video for the protector robots sold by Securitronics Unlimited. And the ad's main feature is that it will hunt down and apparently kill or at least disable the thieves when the robot's on duty. And the ad's part of a presentation being given to the owners of businesses in this mall, because the bots are going on duty tonight. Yeah, we have these robots that are, can like kill people accidentally, and we're putting them on duty tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
And all the people who work there are given passes, etc. Oh, and they also have installed like blast level doors on the doors going out of the mall that seal from midnight to 6 a.m. Which, let's just have to go past the fact that would be completely against every fire code in the book, but whatever.
It's the 80s. There are no fire codes.
Right.
Those were not invented till the 90s.
If a plot point is at risk, screw the fire code.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a couple on the front, and this is hilarious. There's a couple on the front row that the camera keeps cutting to, and they make the worst people on the planet. The worst thing about this movie is those people did not get killed by the robots.
I will agree with that.
Like, then they're Mary and Paul, these people. Mary says, the robots look like the Three Stooges. And Paul says, I don't know, Mary. The one in the middle has an unpleasantly ethnic quality.
That made me uncomfortable.
And then later Paul says, maybe we can use the one at a restaurant to get rid of people we don't like. They remind me of your mother. It's the laser eyes. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But those people didn't get killed, unfortunately. The presentation ominously ends with the boss dude saying that absolutely nothing can go wrong, which means, of course, everything's going to go wrong.
Uh-huh.
And then we have the opening credits sequence. And this opening credit sequence is possibly the most overacted and ridiculous thing I may have ever seen in my life. Like everything about it was over the top. The music was so 80s electronica. It was like they were trying to make fun of it themselves.
Yeah.
And right after the credits, we have this guy in the mall security center, and there's a lightning strike, which doesn't seem to have done anything, but it has apparently messed up the robots. And security dude, so it's back to the purity culture thing. Security dude pulls out a Playboy or something. He's looking at the centerfold, looking at this topless gal. He's just staring at it, and it apparently his lust triggers the robot to wake up. The eyes start glowing, and it goes up to the guy and shoots this arm through the centerfold right into his throat. Kills him. I'm like, dude, he was just looking.
His lust.
Tell me what else lust.
It was. That's such a good line. His lust turned the robot on. It was activated. No. And so the Christian robot needed to go kill him.
Right. So, I mean, the purity culture of the 80s horror is off the charts.
Oh, man, that's so good.
And literally everybody who died in this movie was either looking at the porn or they had just had premarital sex.
Wow.
The only two survivors are the two people who did not have sex. Spoiler alert.
Wow. Yeah.
So then we have possibly the best line in cinema history. Okay.
Here we go.
Over the loudspeaker at the mall, an announcer says, your attention, please. Your attention, please. We have a lost child in lingerie answering to the name of Steve.
Yeah. I thought of you. I thought of you when I heard that. I almost texted you and was like, dude, what are you doing in lingerie? Why are you a lost kid? I thought you hated the Lost Boys. There's something
in lingerie.
Yeah. Well, I don't. You better watch out saying stuff like that. You might get killed by a robot.
We are introduced then to several people who you can tell we're going to end up following around and or seeing them dead. And the acting honestly just gets worse every person who's introduced. And also these people are all 27 years old. Yeah. Or do they just look like it? Or are they actually, because maybe it's all the Aquanet hair that they've got going on.
Yeah.
In the makeup, I don't know. It's a thing in America. We have all the people look older or are older than they should be. Anyway, new dude in the security room at the mall. He puts his dirty feet on the desk. So of course the robots have to kill him.
Duh.
I mean, so I guess this one is not sex related, but I mean, dirty feet on the desk is not. Okay.
It's just Come on,
that's not allowed. So they kill him, harpoon through the neck, and then they cut to a party in the random furniture store. So all these people that we have met along the way, these teens, they're all going to meet up in this furniture store where I guess one of the kids works, and they're going to have a party, and it's probably going to be sexy and alcohol-y. And
yeah,
there's so many tropes in this thing. Like the dude takes his glasses off when he's looking in the mirror to get getting ready, and his eyes immediately squint up like a cartoon.
Uh-huh.
Just things like that.
That's why I love it. It's because there is. I don't think that acting coaches were around. I don't think that was a real thing. It was just people walking up to. It was just directors and APs walking up to people on the road and be like, "Hey, do you want to be in a movie?
Right?
Do you want to be in a movie? Yes, you want to be in my movie? Great, come here to this place and you can be in my movie."
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's either that or the acting classes were so bad.
Right. That I think it was more the former. The fact that just it
didn't exist.
They didn't really care.
Yeah.
So I mean, he even does the collar flip up thing. Did you ever do that? The collar flip up?
No.
Yeah,
I did it in maybe like a mirror to be like, oh,
yeah,
what does this look like? But I'm not doing it to Huey Lewis in the news.
yeah. I thought about doing it one day because like when I was in elementary, I was 85. I would have been 10 years old, and so some people were doing it. And I'm like, I flipped my collar up one time. I'm like, that looks stupid. And
Yeah.
so the party goes into the night. The robots are only supposed to go after the stores close, and so the protector bots are on patrol. All the stores are closed, but the party is in the furniture store, and of course, everyone decides to do the sex, and they're all in the same room on different beds doing their stuff, except for Ferdy and Allison. Ferdy, the kid with the glasses, and Allison is like she's supposed to be played off as like the plain girl, sort of, and they're kind of awkwardly like they like each other, sort of, but they just met. So
they're like the two people who don't really want to be at the party because
right.
Ferdy, his dad owns the store, right?
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Or his uncle owns the store. Like he has it. That's why they're having it theirs because.
Oh, I missed that. So then the deaths get going. So we have like more like really properly moving on. There's the janitor gets electrocuted. Brennan gets his throat cut. Leslie's head gets completely exploded. That was pretty fantastic. Just like a boom. Very, very along the lines of Shudder. Not Shudder. What's the movie we just watched up a few weeks ago? Scanners.
Dude.
You know, it exploded a bit like Scanners.
Scanners is the best.
Yeah. And every time they kill somebody, the robots say, "Have a nice day."
I know.
And then definitely because of the sex, all the robot hell breaks loose, and the protector robots break into the store, and they start shooting absolutely everything with their lasers, and all the kids scatter, the remaining ones. And at that moment, the entire mall's time locked doors shut, and it's impossible to leave, like I said before, until 6 a.m. So the girls try to escape via the air ducts, and for some reason, the heat gets turned on. And it's getting hot in there, middle of summer, and they just can't handle it anymore. So they get out of the ducts, and then the guys head over to the sporting goods store to get weapons, and there's just guns all over the place with like no locked anything. Like the 80s.
It's the 80s.
It's a wild time. They get 2 guns, and Ferdy gets a propane tank. They lure the bots to him, and they try to shoot the bots, and to no avail. They just bounce it off. They're bulletproof. So they throw a tank at the bot and shoot it, and exploding the bot. 1 bot down. The gals make Molotov cocktails out of like cans of gas, which is not how it works. It needs to be glass, so it breaks, but whatever.
Well, does it though, Steve?
Well, it doesn't work for them very well.
It's the 80s.
Oh, it's anything, right. It's the 80s.
They just MacGyver the heck out of it, and it could be anything.
It was very MacGyver-y, yeah. And they try to throw one at the bot, but Susie, who screams way too much, so I was kind of glad she died. She gets burned to a crisp.
Yeah.
And Greg sees it happen, her boyfriend, and he gets very angry, and he like loses his mind, runs up the escalator, and is immediately thrown off the top floor by the bot at the top of the escalator. So he's dead.
Yeah.
Then they use more cans of propane and shoot them to squish one of the bots underneath an elevator. And Allison turns out to be a really good shot. And they're like, "Wow, you're a good shot." And she's like, "My dad was a Marine." End of story.
That tracks. There it is.
Well, it's like genetic, right?
You're lucky you even got a plot, like just any sort of nugget there. It is an 80s movie. Anything can be anything,
right? It's obviously a valid reason, right?
Yeah, my dad's a Marine. Therefore, just by osmosis,
right? Yeah, sure. So they've got 2 robots down, 1 to go. And they head out to find the bots, and Greg is immediately killed, as I mentioned, by falling off the top floor. And then so they're going to go to the roof where the computer is, because of course the computer is on the roof. And the
I
bots
didn't think about that until, because my thinking is like, well, satellites, and yeah, it needs to be up on the roof.
right,
When they were doing the presentation at the beginning of the movie, and then you said that, and I was like, hey, Steve's got a valid point. Like, yeah, because of course, yeah,
of course, right?
of course, it has to be up on the roof. Duh.
And the bots are still in very slow pursuit.
Yes, they don't. They only have one speed. It is turtle.
By the way, one of them didn't get killed, so there's two again. We don't know. I missed which one didn't get killed. Not that it matters.
Was it Larry, Curly, or Mo?
It was the ethnic one.
Oh my gosh, I don't like that joke.
So then there's another fantastic quote from Linda.
Here we go.
Says, "I'm sorry. I guess I'm just not used to being chased around a mall in the middle of the night by killer robots."
Yeah, because who is?
You're the only one, you know?
Yeah, gosh, Laura, get it together.
So they set up a trap for the bots, and they discover that you can apparently reflect lasers, who knew, with a mirror.
Who knew?
But nobody seems to catch this point. Like, there's mirrors that just happen to be there, and they bounce off, and like one of them bounces off and the robot shoots itself and destroys itself, sort of. And nobody's like, oh, let's get mirrors. No, they just get mad. Just.
Yeah.
And
you're meeting this movie with so much good logic, and it's the opposite of what you think is gonna make this movie a good movie.
Well, Rick gets mad and stupid when he sees Linda get shot by one of these bots, and he just runs at the bot, and it kills him.
Yeah.
These people. I mean, it's like the poster movie for survival of the fittest.
Yeah. Again, that's every 80s movie.
Right.
That's everyone.
So it's down, of all these people, it's down to Nerdy, Ferdy, and Allison. And Allison suddenly gets tough and smart and takes charge. She's like, we're going to do this thing. So they continue to look for the computer. Allison is cornered by a bot, but Ferdy distracts it. And the bot throws he shoots at the bot. It doesn't work. They keep shooting at the bots. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
So after his gun runs out of bullets, he throws the gun at the bot like that's going to do anything. And then he picks up a fire extinguisher and throws it at the bot, which bounces off. And the bot picks up the fire extinguisher and throws it at his head and knocks him out, and he's bleeding all over the place. So he's dead. She takes off running. Bot goes after her, and we get another beautiful gem of 80s electronica music.
Mm.
And she hides in a pet store and is covered with spiders and snakes as she's hiding because the robots are knocking over all these terrariums. But then nothing happens. She barely even reacts. She's like, oh, there's spiders on me, whatever. And then she stands up and they're very obviously these plastic spiders that just gonna fall off her. So bad.
They're just taped to her shirt.
Yeah. But it's a total missed opportunity for something. I mean, I'm not asking for her to be the typical, stereotypical girl going, oh, no, spiders. But I mean, I don't know. Something.
Some reaction is better than just no reaction. Yeah.
So she runs out and falls off a high floor onto a canopy. And then she realizes, oh, I have this giant flare that I forgot I tucked into my bra earlier in the movie. No, she missed that. And she pulls it out and she runs over to a paint store in the mall, starts dumping paint all over the floor, dumping paint thinner all over the floor. And then she sneaks out of the place and she lures the bot in there. And right as she tosses in the flare that's lit, she goes, "Have a nice day." Throws the flare in there, and which of course results in this massive explosion immediately. It's like all the pyrotechnics in Hollywood.
Yeah,
are in the
90% of their budget on this movie was this scene.
Right. And so she crawls and limps away, and surprise, Ferdy is not dead. Ferdy was just knocked out because he had a roll of toilet paper on his head, like soaking up the blood, which I guess solves everything.
Yeah,
and
easy.
all is well. And dude, there's a post-credit scene.
There's actually a post-credit scene.
And the robot rolls up really close to the camera and says, "Have a nice day." That's it. But I thought I was wrong about the post-credit scenes. I was told someplace, or I read someplace, that the Ferris Bueller one at the very end was like, "What are you doing here? Go home."
Yeah.
I heard that was the first one ever. But no, I looked it up, and post-credit scenes have been going on since like the 60s.
What was the first one?
It was... Oh, hold on.
The Silencer.
The first general release film to feature a post-credit scene is The Silencers, released in March 1966.
Yeah.
Yep. And then apparently the Ferris Bueller's Day Off one was, I saw elsewhere that was kind of credited as the first fourth wall breaking.
That would make
scene.
sense. Yeah.
But this movie is a year earlier. And I would argue that this robot breaks the fourth wall. So, maybe. But that's neither here nor there. But then I found out the first one was really the Muppet movie in 1979. Has a fourth wall breaking thing at the end. So,
the Muppet movie.
Yeah. Anyway, there's plenty of problematic stuff from the 80s. There's this dude, the waitress calls him, she's like, "Oh yeah, that Orca beach is here every night."
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then they have the guy, as their cutaway, he's like, "Waitress, more butter." It's like... And then one gal fixes an engine, and she's like embarrassed because she knows how to fix an engine. And the guy calls her weird. Yeah, not very women's lib. But then I found this website called badmovies.org.
Okay.
It's like things I learned from this film. Electrocuting people for petty theft isn't illegal. Old people get off on watching young people make out. That's different. I've totally missed that part.
What?
All malls should advertise with bikini-clad women.
Did you type in this movie to
badmovies.org? Yeah.
Okay.
Pillows.
I was going to say, because I remember the old people looking like there was that scene. They're just kind of going through the mall, aggressively making out with each other.
Oh, it was so funny.
Aggressively making out. And right next to them, on a different bench, is an elderly couple. She looks over at them and then kisses her husband on the cheek.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
clothing shields laser beams.
Of
Watching
course.
someone head explode will not invoke fear.
Yeah.
Security robots are armed with C4. Robots have blood. Just stupid things like marine training is inherited through genes. Spiders and snakes are attracted to people who are hiding.
Yeah.
Falling 3 stories into a tent doesn't hurt. And paint thinner mixed with paint creates a powerful explosive.
Those are great observations.
Anyway, there's a lot more than that. Yeah.
I think badmovies.org might make several reappearances in this podcast.
It may very well. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, I think what did I give this? Star wise, I gave it. I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars, which is right in the middle. It's technically average.
Yeah, but it's not though. Come on, we all know that 3 stars. That's the one.
Yeah.
And you just gave this a 0.5 star more than Maxine.
Yeah.
And yet, it sounded very much like you had fun describing it to me. So I think that should factor into. Come on.
I have a moral objection to giving something a higher rating for being better because it was so bad that I had fun describing it.
It sounds like you need to get a better moral compass. Okay? Or you need to stop being such a stick up your butt person and freaking just have some fun, dude.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, well.
But honestly, it was not that. It was
You
for
have
the
a
80s.
prejudice against 80s movies is what you got. That's what it sounds
Yes,
like.
I do. Yes, I
you
do.
You can't
Yeah.
go above 2.5 despite the fact that you would let your family watch this movie. Come on.
Ugh. My kids may just leave the house if I'm. They may not.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody is getting past the ethnic robot joke.
No, not at all. Nobody in my family will. They'll be like, done. We're moving on.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I understand.
Yeah. So there you go.
2.5.
Dumb fun movie. I actually I looked back at Letterboxd and I had said 3, so I'll leave it at 3.
Congratulations for being a good person.
Yeah. Well, I didn't click the heart.
Well, that's later.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We got to slowly build your immunity to this.
Yeah.
80s. There's more to come.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of building immunity, I feel like I'm building your immunity toward extremely depressing and disturbing movies.
Yeah, I'm going to attribute my full depression this past 4th of July weekend to The House That Jack Built.
Accurate. Probably true.
I mean, what the heck was that movie?
Dude.
You want to talk about it?
I would love to talk about it. It took me about a week to watch that movie.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
2 days. It took me 2 days to watch this movie. Okay. So Steve assigned me The House That Jack Built. He gets my notes. Okay. Whew. The House That Jack Built from 2018. 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, 65% audience score. 3.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. The Letterboxd synopsis of this movie gives the entire movie away. Are you ready? Here's the entire movie. Failed architect, engineer, and vicious murderer, Jack narrates the details of some of his most elaborate, orchestrated crimes, each of them a towering piece of art that defines his life's work as a serial killer for 12 years. I have nothing more to add to that. That's it. That's literally
that's the plot.
No, yeah. That's the whole movie. Except for the Dante's Peak, or not Dante's Peak, Dante's Inferno, not the Pierce Brosnan movie. The yeah, Dante's Inferno ending of this movie.
Right.
Which I have a problem with. Okay, so okay. I don't even know how specifically to describe this movie. It is, first off, I think this movie is way too long.
How long is it? Over 2 hours.
It's a 2.5 hour movie.
Oh wow!
I mean, let me see here. I don't want to go there because I want to bookmark that. See, I open tabs and then never. Oh, that's how I save stuff.
Yeah, same.
Okay, yeah. 2 hours and 35 minutes.
That's too long.
It's too long of a movie. They're fleshing out scenes. Okay. Jack is a serial killer and a obsessive compulsive.
Right.
So Verge, who he is talking to the whole movie,
right,
notes that this must be difficult because you are an obsessive compulsive who also freaking kills people.
Right.
So the movie basically starts off with Verge talking with Jack, like basically a black screen.
Right.
They're just having a conversation. You are a bit lost on why and what is happening because, again, what they're showing versus who he's talking. That's not revealed till darn near the end of the movie.
Right. And Verge is like short for Virgil.
I'm not overly too sure specifically who Verge is. He's the devil. He's a messenger. He's a demon. He's somebody sent to deliver Jack to some circle of hell.
Well, in Dante's Inferno, it's Virgil taking Dante through the circles of hell on a tour.
Oh, well, then there you
So
go.
I figured it was Virgil taking. I think the whole movie is like him taking through the circles of hell, sort of.
Probably. Now,
I don't know.
I am an idiot, and I have no idea what the heck this Dante's Inferno is. Okay, I've never done anything with it. All I know is it seemed out of place. It probably wasn't. It's probably there all along. But because I was so caught up in how long this movie was and how incredibly disturbing Jack actually is, like the kills weren't necessarily even that bad. I've seen worse.
Sure.
It was more just this movie took for freaking ever to get to it. And
it's disturbing along the way.
It was, yeah, I mean, it was very disturbing. I mean, what do we got? The first kill that we see is Uma Thurman. And let's be honest with ourselves. She deserved to die. Okay? I'm going to say that. Uma Thurman, lovely actress. This particular character that she portrays, she finds Jack, or Jack finds her when he's driving on the road. It's the first scene.
Right.
And yeah, he is.
She kind of taunts him, doesn't she?
That's my point. Is like she's like, hey, my jack broke. I need to change my tire. I need your help. And she is overly Karen-like. And then when she does, like, Jack clearly doesn't want her to get in the car. He does not want to help her. And I'm just like, then just drive away, dude. But also you're a killer, so I understand. I mean, I don't, because I've never killed anybody, but I get it. You're conflicted, maybe. So she basically gets in the car. They go to the mechanic, this welder guy that Jack knows. He welds and fixes, quote unquote, fixes the jack. Jack can't be fixed, the jack breaks again. And
whoa, Jack can't be fixed.
I know.
What?
Yeah, Jack can't be fixed. Jack breaks immediately. Yep. I'm hearing myself say it, and I'm discovering that I'm actually saying it, or at the same time. So, but Jack beats her head in with the jack,
and she keeps taunting him, well, you might be a serial killer.
Yeah, she's this damsel in distress who gets in the car, and then immediately when she gets in the car, she's like, "We don't know each other.
Yeah,
what? Why did I get in this car? You could be a killer." And she just basically, and then at one point she's like, "I don't think you're a killer. I don't think you got it in you." And I'm like, "Hit her in the head. Hit her in the head. Hit her in the head. Hit her in the head. Take that jack and hit her in the head. Do it now."
Oh, you're brutal, dude.
I couldn't wait for her to die. Okay? That may say more about me. I'm sorry if that offends somebody
anybody
out
there. If you are it's broken down on the side of the road, do not take a ride from Zach.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm learning from this?
I'm nicer in person.
Oh, okay.
You're talking to movie Zach.
Oh, right.
Movie Zach is a very different Zach. He doesn't.
Zach.
Yeah. I've talked about people. I've talked about on this podcast people Like, they just do stupid stuff, and I'm like, yeah, kill him. Get him now, because it's dumb. You're dumb. You just walked into the thing, and you should kill him. And this is one of those things where she's, you're, I don't know, man. But anyway, she dies.
Yep.
Then he takes her to this place that he's renting, or place that he owns off of Prospect Street or whatever, that is this freezer that he bought from this old pizza guy. Yeah. And this is where he keeps all of the bodies.
Right.
And Uma Thurman is, I think, the first victim, maybe, at least in the freezer that we see.
Okay.
And I think, I don't know how to rank the killings. I thought about ranking the killings. The next that wasn't disturbing because I enjoyed it. Which again might say more about me than I want it to. But I'm just being honest. And if I can't be honest on our own podcast, where can I be honest? The next killing was when the next killing that disturbed me was when he pretended to be a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pretended to be an insurance salesman or some pension guy.
Right, to get into the lady's house.
And he got into Sugar Water's house. And do you get that reference at all?
No.
Men in Black.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's the same characters, isn't it?
Vincent D'Onofrio turned into that bug guy, and he needed sugar water. Right.
Right.
His wife is
it's
that
the same
girl,
actress.
same actress. So that's why I said sugar water.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he gets into Sugar Water's house and chokes her to death, but doesn't do it well. He's clearly learning. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, he's asking her questions. You just broke her freaking trachea, dude. Like, it's completely smashed in. She's struggling to breathe, and you're asking her questions like, how can I help you? What? She can't answer. So he kills her. He takes pictures also of all of the dead bodies. And that's very odd. There were two major moments, at least that I'm thinking about right now, that genuinely were incredibly shocking to me.
Mm.
And that was young Jack cutting the foot off that duckling.
Oh, dude.
I actually physically winced.
Yes.
I physically paused the movie, put down my iPad, and was like, I couldn't handle that.
No, that's brutal.
That was too much. And then I thought, because I immediately had to get out of it. I immediately had to get out of that thought. I thought to myself, I want to know the secret behind the movie magic. Because it's a real duckling that he's holding, or at least it looks like a real duckling. I don't know what duckling technology was in 2018. I don't know. I don't know what.
And they wouldn't have actually done it to an actual duckling.
They would, yeah, because no animals were harmed in the making of this movie, right? So you're not actually gonna. So how do they do it? Because it looked super real.
It did.
Is it CG? I don't know. It was the clipping too. It wasn't just the fact that he did it. It was the fact that you heard.
Yes. Like
you were cutting a baby carrot.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Too much? Okay. Well, we'll just ruin baby carrots for you. Okay, well. So that part, and then the other part was like he gets to a family. Like, he gets to have a family, and he takes them hunting. This was wild.
This one was a disturbing part.
This one, yeah. The hunting wasn't necessarily that wasn't the most disturbing part. I think the most disturbing part was when he took one of the boys back to the freezer and like cut the boy's face up to make him happy.
Mm-hmm.
And they slightly showed his face, and I winced again. I was like, oh, it was so bad. Because, I mean, you're killing kids. That's not great. And even Verge was like, dude, that's too much. Like, you're sharing too much. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say about this movie. I mean,
well, the thing that really for some reason it really, really bothered me was his planned last kill that he didn't get to go through with was with all those guys lined up with the rifle, and he was going to shoot like all 8 of them or 6 of them or whatever it was with one bullet.
Yeah.
That, for some reason, I'm like, please don't show that. Please don't show that. Please don't show that.
I actually wanted to see that. Okay. So I may be more disturbing than you are. I mean, this is that's when Verge shows up. So the very last thing is like he kidnaps this guy and he's alive, and you're like, what the heck is he alive for?
Mm-hmm.
And takes him into the freezer, puts his chin down on this bar, and I'm sure that he just got stuck to the bar at that point. There are other people who are alive, and one of the central themes throughout this movie is the fact that Jack loves art.
Right.
And
he's making
all of art, meaning like one of the things that he likes the most is how like the horrific side of life and the horrific side of life being art. So at one point they show this montage of these dictators, these horrible people throughout history, and the things that these people have done, Jack considers to be beautiful art. That was a bit much. Like it was disturbing. That was because it was too real. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, because you go fantasy with everything else, and kind of compartmentalize that. Like, this is a movie, it's not real, but one of Jack's motivations is the horrific side of life being beautiful art. Jack also swings very wildly to like these great piano players and all of that stuff. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a bunch of symbolism and a bunch of metaphor in this movie, but I decided not to watch a 8-hour YouTube video on the house that Jack built. Steve sent me an 8-hour explanation of Midsommar, and I am never going to watch that. Just on principle alone, it's 8 freaking hours.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it either.
I don't know what the heck you're breaking down. I'd rather just watch the movie again. I'd rather just watch the movie 3
more times.
Exactly. I'd just rather just watch it on a loop rather than watch this somebody explain for 8 full hours what the heck is going on. Also, how long did it take them to upload that video? Because sometimes YouTube takes a minute, man. You had to like walk away for a week from your computer. The fan was just going like crazy. I don't know what was up. Yeah, I'm sure that there is a lot of metaphor and a lot of symbolism in this movie with the Dante's Inferno, mixed in and whatnot. I didn't entirely know. I mean, we didn't even hit the fact that he was building a house at like the whole title of the movie.
Like an actual house.
He was building an actual house, couldn't find the right the right material to do it. Built the house like he said like 8 times or whatever. Like he tore it down. Like whatever, 8 times or something like that. And then Verge comes along and is like, hey, you've been talking about not being able to find the right material. You've also been talking about these bodies and how they're pliable. Do I need to say more? Like, and Jack, as the police are coming in, because Jack gets a little sloppy. Jack's obsessive compulsiveness keeps him hidden.
Right.
But
Because like he cleans up really well and everything.
The more confidence Jack gets, the more skill in killing he receives, but his obsessive compulsiveness goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the end, Jack literally steals a police car that he doesn't know how to turn the freaking siren off of, and he gets caught, which I'm like, that made me upset. I was like, you mean to tell me that you're this hyper intelligent person? You can't flip a freaking switch? Like, you can't it's on the dashboard, dumb nut. Like,
it kind of just indicated to me how he was like losing it. He was just like snapping.
But he drove from the middle of nowhere into town. Like, he wanted to get caught, because every serial killer at that point kind of wants to get caught, right? At least that's what true crime documentaries have told me.
He kind of has done his opus the house made out of bodies.
Right.
That was done.
Yes. That was not the most disturbing part for me personally. That made complete sense to me. They were kind of low key leading you to that place.
Sure.
So it made sense. There were other very it's the duckling thing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the same way about the duckling thing that I did about one of the robbers in Home Alone stepping on that nail.
Mm-hmm.
Or anyone in any movie,
stepping
on a nail coming up or down the steps.
Yeah,
like in A Quiet Place, the most disturbing part of that movie, the most tense part of that movie was when she stepped on that nail.
Yep.
I wanted to crawl out of my skin. That it was the same kind of vibe for me. But yeah, the house that he built was. Now here's the question. Because they slip away. Verge and Jack slip away in this underground lair, in this underground sewer system. Hell just kind of apparently just literally appears out of freaking nowhere underneath this city. Which we need to find out what city that is and stay away from it. And so
it's all cities.
Well, that's very true. Except for Cleveland. It's not Cleveland. No.
Except for the Cuyahoga River being on fire. Yeah.
Well, we don't have to talk about that. And so, did he get shot and die?
I think he committed suicide.
Oh.
I think he killed himself.
How?
Because, I don't know.
Well, you can't say that and then not back it up, ding dong.
I can say anything I want to say.
That's true. It's your podcast. You can say whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter. Is there any unfounded misinformation? You just say it.
I think he was so he was an architect, right? So I think everything he was doing is art in his mind, and he had done the peak of art, and he finally had broken into this freezer, like he was trying to get into. And
by using a thing called leverage. Like he couldn't ever get into this thing until he put a bar,
which I think is probably a symbol of something.
Yeah,
symbolic of. I don't know. I don't know. But I think that the way it was set up is, I think he either got shot, or killed himself. So, but he's definitely dead.
I view it as he got shot because they were trying to get through that door.
Oh, that's true.
That he barricaded, and they had cut a hole and bent down the door, like bent down the metal, and were shooting inside right as he jumped through that hole.
Okay.
And my thought is, because that's when we go from, for lack of a better term, realistic movie into the fantasy of Dante's Inferno.
Right.
And that's where this is where we now realize, we're basically at the beginning of the movie now. because the same line that was in the beginning, the same dialogue that was in the beginning of the movie, now literally verbatim picks exactly back up again.
Like it's all been a flashback, sort of.
Right. So it's like we're watching the past, but listening to the present as Verge takes Jack through the 7-layer dip of hell or whatever. It's also very interesting. Because I don't know Dante's Inferno, it's very interesting that he shows him the very circle of it, the very bottom of it, like the bridge to get out of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I'm not supposed to take you here. I thought you'd be curious and want to know. Yeah. So we figured we'd make a detour and like, let's just turn back and go. And Jack's like, oh no, can I just get around this? It's almost like it was a test.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't know anything about Dante's Inferno. Crucify me in the comments for that. But don't. Please be nice. My fragile ego can't handle it. But it felt like a test because he clearly fails.
Yeah.
And also he has, like Verge said, like nobody's been able to do it.
Right.
So it feels very much like Verge is kind of egging him on a little bit to do this thing despite So anywho, I need to rate this movie now. Let me pull it up on Letterboxd.
I think the reason why you're doing that, I think the reason that I found the film so disturbing and so hard to get through was, I think it was because it did such a good job. I mean, it's a well-made film. It did such a good job of putting you in his shoes, and like, I don't know, to me anyway, I felt like I was understanding him, and that bothered me. It's like,
yeah,
I don't want to get that inside a guy's head who's doing this kind of stuff.
I fully understand that.
And seeing his absolute like lack of any kind of emotion or regret or anything for all the stuff he was doing.
Well, he practices those emotions. Like he cuts out newspaper and magazine pictures of people in different emotional states.
That's right.
And practices, like tapes them to a mirror and then practices those expressions so that he can appear normal. Because he's like, I don't feel anything. Yeah. So but I know that I live in this world where everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Okay? Secret time. Sometimes I feel like that. Okay? I'm not a serial killer. No tubby time for me. Okay? No tubby time for me.
No tubby. All right.
By the way, somebody recently said the word tummy time, and I almost hit him in the face.
Oh, like babies. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Tummy time. And I couldn't hear what they said. I said, "What did you say?" Like angrily, kind of. Like, yeah. Tummy time.
Tummy time.
I was like, right. Oh, I thought you said tubby time. No, what's that? I don't want to talk about it. And like, well, you need to move on because I don't want to. Yeah. Anyway, we don't need to get into too deep on therapy with Zach. That's a different
thing.
It's a different thing. Therapy with Zach. We don't need to get into that because Steve will start playing the theme song, which I don't hate. Actually, Therapy with Zach that might be one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Amazing. I wanna clip that. I want that, and I want to play it for my therapist the next time I go to therapy. As soon as she's like, "How are you today?" I'm like, "Play." It's Therapy with Zach. Like I'm doing horrible. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna rate this movie a 3.5. I did not think that it was bad. I thought that it was too long. I thought that nothing was necessarily out of place. I understand that at the beginning of the movie there was They walked us through his obsessive compulsive cleaning habits a bit too much for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because you said that he has them, but you didn't need to like put the camera on a freaking tripod and just let us watch in real time him clean this house. I did not need that. This movie could have very easily got 30 or 40 minutes fully cut out of it. Been 2 hours or an hour and 45 minutes, and we got it. We understand. Because the killings were not the long, drawn-out part of this. It was the leading up to the killings and then the aftermath of the killings. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a decent movie. I would recommend it. I would not recommend it to people who just know your threshold. If you're going to go into this particular movie, because it is very disturbing and yeah, it's not for everybody. So just know yourself and don't try to push through this movie. If you reach your threshold, if you reach your limit, turn the movie off and just don't pick it back up again. Yeah. Because sometimes, like, I think you and I get into this, like, completionist mode where we end up hurting ourselves or maybe torturing ourselves because we have to see how it concludes. But I got an hour into this movie before I had to fully shut it off and go, I got to watch something else. I text you and was like, dude, I'm an hour in. I have to shut it off and watch something else that's happy because this movie is freaking bleak.
Go watch Marcel.
Gotta watch, dude. I have to start watching Marcel. I might have to start watching Marcel every day. He's in my backpack right now, literally downstairs in my backpack. I take him everywhere I go. He went to Pittsburgh with me. He comes to work with me.
It's a good idea.
Every day I take him out of my backpack, put him on my desk. What's up? What's up, little bud? He's the best of us.
He's the best. He's the best.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. 3.5.
Well, I'm sorry that it caused your depression for the week.
It did not. There are other things going on.
I know.
It didn't help.
I wouldn't be surprised if it had.
Yeah. Life is way more depressing than a movie because I could shut a movie off, but I can't just turn off life.
Yeah. You could, but we're not gonna.
I don't have any time for any of that nonsense. Personally, if you do, we need to have a conversation. There's help out there.
Indeed.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I really liked about like just coming clean about that kind of stuff on Instagram and just the way that I felt. Like there is this community that's out there and I genuinely appreciated people reaching out and, you know, if I needed to chat, just complete strangers.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's good to know that we have people because all you have to do is just talk. And I know that sometimes that's the hardest part is to actually open up.
Yeah.
Help us there, you know.
Don't go being a serial killer either.
Also, don't go being a serial killer. That's not great.
No.
I mean, Netflix will make a docuseries about you and I will watch it, but that's because I'm a normal person.
Sure. I mean, yeah, who wouldn't? Well, let's I think it's your turn to pick a movie for me for next week.
Sweet. All right, Steve, here we go, bro. We got the Wheel of Destiny with your 10 movies on it. Oh yeah. Dude, that took forever for the little... All right, dude. The you can't even see that at all.
I can't see it.
The Belko Experiment.
The Belko Experiment?
Yeah. Belko. The Belko Experiment. That is your movie for next week.
Have you seen this one?
I have seen this one.
Okay.
Unless Letterboxd tells you that I haven't seen it, at which point it's a liar, because I have.
I don't think I've ever even heard of this one. If I could spell it right.
It is a movie that I want more of.
Oh, really?
We can talk about that. We can talk about that next week. This is one of those movies that I definitely want. I want more. I want a sequel. I want more.
Interesting.
It is a
cool.
I like the premise of this movie. That's me, my inner psychopath.
Office Space meets Battle Royale. That's
yeah. If it is, it's not necessarily mayhem adjacent.
Yeah.
But it is a similar vibe. So maybe I guess it is somewhat adjacent to Mayhem is more just comedy horror, and this is not. I don't think this is comedy horror. This might not even be horror. This just might be thriller, but still. It's a great movie. You should watch it. You're going to watch it. I don't know where it is either. I want to say that just for people who are listening. Tubi. Great.
It's at least on Tubi, for free. Roku, Pluto TV.
Great.
Every place else you can rent it too.
All right, homie.
All right. I'm going to
what depressing thing are you going to make me watch
for you? Why would you say that hurtful kind of a thing? I mean,
listen, I say it every week. You should be used to it by now.
Oh, that's too depressing. I can't pick that one for you.
I wonder if Netflix has a code for depressing horror movies.
It probably does.
I'm gonna find it and text it to you. And then if you've seen 100% of all those films, we need to have a conversation.
All right, I will assign to you the movie. I mentioned it not long ago. Because I watched it not long ago, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's called Sissy. Sissy. It is on Shudder.
Sissy.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
Not rated comedy horror.
Yeah, the other one I was going to pick for you that Shuffle gave me is another one that I would say is along the same line, like the same vibe as the one you just watched. So, but you're not ready for that yet.
I am.
2 weeks in a row.
Back to back is brutal.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah. Okay. Sissy. This is a comedy horror.
And it's pretty new, 2022. And
it's on Shudder.
Fantastic movie. I liked it anyway.
Great.
Watch out though. It takes place in Australia, so there's Australian accents. You might have to put in the subtitles.
Yeah. I'll have to put on the subtitles. Oh, this is already on my list.
Is it?
It's on my Shudder list. Yeah, Sissy.
Oh, sweet.
Cool. Awesome. Come.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah, you too.
And hope you watch some fun things. Don't forget, there's always Marcel.
I do forget that. There's always Marcel.
There's always Marcel.
Yes.
No matter how bleak life gets, there's always Marcel.
There's always Marcel. I might actually just... What?
The show with shoes on.
The show with the shoes on. Yeah. I might just buy that movie. I need to straight up just own that movie.
It's good stuff.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
See ya. All right, listeners. That's a wrap for another episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. Thanks for joining us.
And we'd love for you to become part of the conversation. Just drop us a voicemail at 1-216-202-5495 or email us at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. And keep up with the latest by following us on Instagram. That handle is at horrorsyetonunseenpod. We'd also appreciate it if you like and review our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.